Boom, boom, boom. 4-0. Let's go. Welcome back to the 5 Takeaways, a show about Carolina basketball. I had a host joke. I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to jump right into the video because that's what people want to do. They want to click on this video. They want to learn about what I thought about Carolina basketball, and that's what we're going to do today. Tar Heels beat James Madison by a score of 80-64. I went to the game. I'll talk a little bit about that at the end. Super cool experience. Super glad I got to go. James Madison had a great offense coming into this game. We're very highly touted as an offensive threat. I was worried that Carolina would not be able to keep up with James Madison, but 64 total points. We'll talk about the defense in a little bit, but overall, a very good showing. Moved to 4-0 on the season. I just feel like a little bit of a broken record here, honestly, to start the season because it feels like every game's kind of followed the same script of there are times when we look great. There are times when we don't look great. We kind of look a little average. Second half, score or the lead kind of shrinks, but then we kill the game off, 4 minutes and under, stretch out the lead again. They press us, we respond well, and we win. I don't know, that just seems to be the script, how the games have been going so far this year. So with that being said, let's jump into box one, and it's going to be a green box for Armando Bacot. 23 rebounds, a career high, had a double-double early in the first half, like maybe 5 minutes to go. He had 11 and 11. Guy was just so good. Someone behind us was saying that Armando was missing shots at times just because he could get the offensive rebound and basically stat pad and just amass rebounds. I don't know if he was farming rebounds. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he was just getting harried a little bit and missed some bunnies, but that would be hilarious if he was that good. He could just farm rebounds. 9 for 12 from the free throw line as well, so that's something that he was a little bit shaky on earlier in the season, so it looks like he's cleaned that up. Just looked like Armando Bacot of old, Armando Bacot of last year, ACC Player of the Year level Armando Bacot on Sunday against James Madison. Green box for him. Awesome. Going to go with another green box for box 2. This one for the intensity that the Carolina basketball players had. Have you noticed that kind of at the end of every game, it seems like, or maybe not even at the end of every game, but just at some point in the second half of these games, there seems to be an altercation, a little bit of afters, as they say in England, or some sort of chirping, talking back and forth. Coach Davis had to apologize after Caleb's dunk earlier in the season. I think that's a really interesting thing to keep an eye out on during the course of the season. I think it's stemming from a lot of teams coming in and saying, we don't care that you're number one. We don't care that you had a magical run last year and made it to the national championship game. We're going to come in and give you our absolute best. And the Carolina basketball players are not rolling over and just taking that. What did Roy Williams harp on in his last few years as a coach? It was like, you got to have that dog in you, literally. Like, you got to have that fight that if people are going to come after you, you have to be able to say, no, I'm not going to take this. I'm going to prove that we are the better team and we're going to out-hustle you and just beat you, flat out beat you. Maybe it takes the guys a little bit of time each game to warm up to the fact that, yes, these are real players, and yes, they really, really, really want to beat you. But then once they figure that out, they're like, yeah, shut up. Like, we're going to win. I don't know, especially from Caleb. A lot of the players, it just seems like, aren't taking any talk from the other team. It could be partly because we're winning by these odd scores where it's not a huge 30-point blowout, but it's also not really close enough where free throws and fouling, that whole routine is necessary. So it's kind of each team feels like they're in the right? Like the opposing team's like, yeah, we're still going to press and foul you because it's not a 30-point blowout. But then Carolina's like, why are you still pressing and fouling us? This game is out of reach. And maybe tempers flare a little bit there. But I don't know. It just felt like JMU was really trying to slow the game down, draw fouls, maybe have a couple flops, just get us out of a rhythm. And we took that on the chin really well, I thought, and ended up not only winning, but kind of flexing our own muscles a little bit at the end and not letting them just push us around, which is huge. That's the intensity you need all season long. That's the intensity that's going to help us prevail when teams do this, but are bigger and stronger and faster. You know, you have to be able to say, we've been here before. We're not going to roll over. We're going to stand our ground. We're going to fight back. Love fighting against any adversity. Green box for intensity. Third box today is a green box for Puff Johnson. Puff's season debut. Last time he played, the national championship game in New Orleans. Got a huge standing ovation when he checked in, and then I thought it was really funny. He kept getting ovations when he would check out and in, and just logically, that's probably going to die down at some point unless he's just one of the biggest fan favorites in Carolina basketball history. But those ovations were honestly really well-deserved from his play on Sunday. He finished with 6 points. He had a 3, played 13 minutes. Overall, just really, really good job. He was solid defensively, got his hands in the passing lane a couple times, tipped some balls away. He's that 3-and-D piece off the bench that's huge for this team. And I really think he could be a lot of different things for this team. He could be the energy guy. He could be the spark guy. At the end of the game, off an inbound pass, that's who we go to. He fills a lot of roles for this team. So I think he's huge for this team going forward. Super glad to see him back on the court and already had a decent performance for his first game of the season. It will be interesting to see what Puff's re-addition into the rotation does for guys like Tyler Nickel and DeMarco Dunn and Dontrez Styles. We know Dunn got some good minutes yesterday. Trimble and Nickel all played, but with Puff playing, it was kind of him and Seth Trimble, I felt, that got the most minutes. I don't have a box statistic to back that up, but that's kind of what it looked like. Will the freshmen start not getting as many minutes? Will Puff take the reins as the sophomore that gets the most minutes? Just be interesting to see going forward. Fourth box today is going to be a yellow for our defense. I know I started this video talking about how we held a very potent offense to just 64 points, but I just felt like you can't have 5 green boxes in a game. I don't know. Maybe you can. I'm putting a yellow on defense because I just thought at times our on-ball defense was a little shaky, had guys getting beat off the dribble, and then even if our health defense was good, a couple extra passes and there seemed like there was an open guy for 3, which is going to happen if the first guy gets beat off the dribble and then they swing it around, and even if people go and help, eventually someone's probably going to be open. And with a team like JMU that was so hot coming into this game, you felt like they could have punished us more than they did. So credit the defense for limiting second chance points, limiting transition points, definitely taking JMU out of their rhythm. But at the same time, there were some open looks that JMU just flat out missed. I'm being pretty picky here, but just kind of going back to what we've talked about this season so far and our consistency, technically we could have played better defensively, but picky, I know. And our last box today is going to be a green box for the game day atmosphere and the media during game day. Not going to give too much away, but I will say there's a new monologue with Coach Davis before the starting lineups, and then I'm not exactly sure when it comes on, but there's new footage for the This Is Carolina Basketball. There's some people that talk in that made the woman behind us like shriek in what sounded honestly like terror, but I think it was just awesome joy. I don't know. But super cool. The starting lineups are fun. The light show is fun. The students were decently crowded and energetic for a 12 o'clock game on a Sunday. Super fun to be there. This is a really good team. Hopefully people go out all season long and support them. And it's just always fun to go to the Smith Center. I don't know. So green box for that. I won't cop out and use that as a green box for future games that I go to. I think that's going to wrap this up for episode 4, game 4. Tar Heels are 4-0, going to Portland. We've got a Thanksgiving week tournament. There's lots of them. There's one in Maui. There's one in Cayman Islands. Go Tulane. Let's keep this momentum going. It'll be interesting to see how the team reacts to games in back-to-back days and against stiffer competition. I'm super excited. Still got the number 1 next to our name. Still got a 0 in the loss column. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go Heels.